This trick we'll call the 5 finds the 5s. You're going to show them a card, and I wrote the number 5 on it. It's a blank card. I wrote 5 on a bunch of these. You're going to tell them how you put the 5 on the top of the deck. And then you explain that you're going to cut the deck. For the little kids, you just say you're going to take about half the cards, take them off, put them on the side, and put the rest of the pile back on top. Oops, the whole pile back on top. And for the little kids, the whole trick is done. We're done. But let's do it a little harder for the older kids. We're going to tell them how we'll cut it again. Put the rest of the cards on top. You can cut it again. Put the rest of the cards on top. Then you say you're going to look for that 5 card. So you spread them out. You look for the card that's upside down. There it is. You tell them how you take the card above it and below it. And then you say this 5 somehow found another 5 above it and another 5 below it. It found the 5s, and if they think, you can say they're not all 5s. In case they think they're all 5s, just show them all different cards. That's the trick. How is it done? Extremely easy to do. You just take the deck, you put a 5 on the top, and a 5 on the bottom. It doesn't matter which color, as long as there's one on top and the bottom. All you do is you put the 5 on top. What you did now is you put the 5 next to one of the 5s there, and when you cut the deck and you pick up the rest of the pile, the bottom card just went next to the 5. So you're done. The trick is over. Right now, above and below this 5 are the other 5s. That's all you have to do. Now, the order of the cards does not matter, so don't worry about that. But real quickly, when you get this, here's how you're going to give it out to the kids. Just putting the 5s back in order. You're going to get a full deck of cards. Just take half the deck. Okay? Give half the deck to one kid, half the deck to another kid. So half of the deck will have one suit of one, or one of like the hearts and one of the spades. It's basically got 2 different suits. Okay? And here's how you tell the kids to do this trick. You give them this, you tell them to take out the 5s. 1 5 and 2 5s. Okay? If they accidentally mix these cards up now, it doesn't matter. These cards do not have to be in order. Okay? Tell them to put the deck down. Tell them to put 1 5 on the top. Tell them to put 1 5 on the bottom. Done. Okay, now we'll do this for the little kids. You just tell the little kids, or for all the kids in the audience, say to hold up the card and say I have a 5. Tell them I'm going to put the 5 on top of the deck. Then everyone as a class, you say now we're going to cut the deck, or for the little kids you can say we're going to take about half the deck and put it on the side, and then tell them to pick the rest of the deck up, the other pile, and put it back on top. And tell them how we just mixed up the cards, and now you tell the kids we're all going to spread them out, and we're going to look for that upside down card, and then tell the kids to take out the card above it and below it. So the kids will even say that. Say I've mixed up the cards, and now I'm taking out the card above it, below it, and then say, look, this 5 somehow is able to find a 5 below it and a 5 above it. And then you can say, I'll bet you're thinking they're all the same card. So you take all the cards and turn them over and say, nope, there's no other 5s, just those 2. That's how you do it for the little kids. As a class, now if you have some older kids and you have a little extra time, you can do it a little harder. It's just put the 5s on the top and bottom. The only difference, when you put it down, rather than just cutting it once, tell them they can cut it again. And they can cut it again. And they can cut it again. It doesn't matter. You can explain to the kids that whenever they cut the cards, it always keeps those cards next to the original 5. It always keeps them there. Just by cutting the cards, when you cut the cards, it does not change the order. Okay, so it looks like you're shuffling them, explain to the kids, but you're really not. The only thing that might happen is this. When you cut the cards, you might cut it right at this point where you just get the 5 back on top. If that happens, tell them, something like, I don't want to see the 5, so I'll just cut it again. I'll put the rest of the cards on top, and now you're good to go. For the older kids, you can even tell them Mom and Dad can cut the deck, so they can tell Mom and Dad to cut the deck. And if there really is anyone that doesn't understand, and they really want to understand what's going on, just explain to them how by cutting the deck, it really still keeps those 2 cards are always going to stay next to it. Watch, I'll flip them over for you so you can see this. Flip them over. So there's the 3 cards. When I cut the deck, I just cut it, they're still right next to it. I cut it again, I cut it again, it doesn't matter. It always stays next to it. And that's a trick.